because we go to 2025 New Year's Day, 1 p.m. ESPN. For obvious reason, Cole Johnson will be having both eyes locked and loaded on this game down in the Peach Bowl of in the ATL Atlanta, Georgia, as the fifth ranked Longhorns are 13.5 favorites against the Big 12 champions, Arizona State.
I'm not. It's not lost on me that Texas, because of the L they took in the same building 3 weeks ago to Georgia, and congratulations to Georgia, you earned being the SEC champions because you did it with your backup quarterback, and we'll talk
Who is
about
now
that
they
in a minute.
starting quarterback?
Yeah, but I
Carson
was gonna say we'll touch on that when we talk about them in Notre Dame, but it forced Texas to, even though they had a home game, it forced it to play against the ACC champs and rout them. Now they have to play against the Big 12 champs. So it's not lost on me that they had to play the ACC champ in the first round. Get to the quarterfinal, they have to play the Big 12 champ. And if they win this game, more than likely they'll be playing the Big 10 champ in the semifinal. It is not lost on me that the road to this championship for Texas is probably going to be harder than for any other team in this field.
You know, the funny thing is, you lost in the SEC championship in a certain building. You playing the
And you
Peace
go
Bowl in a
back
certain
there.
building.
Hmm.
And if you make the next championship game, guess what that
You
game is
play in
being
that
played at?
same building for the crown. Yes.
It could
So
be
I'm
three
hoping
trips to Atlanta for
3 trips to
Texas.
Atlanta for Texas a two in a less than 2 month span. And I hope this is not going to become like a house of horrors for them. But in my estimation, in my purview, and correct me if I'm wrong, sir. ACC champion Clemson, Big 12 champion Arizona State, Big 10 champ or Oregon if they were to go past Ohio State, which I think they will. But if Texas were to actually beat all three of these teams and they get to play in the national championship game, which other team had the toughest road, or which team had a tougher road than them to get to the national championship? And I'm saying this not as a Texas fan. So I'm like, wow.
No, my question is
Hmm.
defense. Are you prepared to tackle a certain running back?
That's going to be my issue for them as well. I want Texas to come in this game with the understanding that they got to up their physicality. They got to up it. They got to up it. They did in Clemson. They upped it a little bit. They upped it defensively against Georgia in the SEC championship. Offensively, they did not, in my opinion. What they did against Clemson, I want to see. I want to see more of offensively. I want to see them commit to smacking a defensive line in the face. I want the physicality to be the point where it's like, look, we are coming in this field. We're more man than you. We're going to prove it, and you're gonna do but two things when we do it. Nothing and like it. I want Texas offensively to have that type of mentality when they play Arizona State and they beat them, Oregon, and they beat them. Hopefully, it's Georgia for the third time, and this time for the national championship. I want their offense to say, "We are more man than you."
If you ain't grow up in the 90s, you would not get that reference.
I mean, that's
Do nothing and like it.
I mean, but see, that's the mentality I want Texas to have offensively. Defensively, I think they've coming around to that, to where it's like, okay, we get that you want to be physical, but we actually are a little more physical. We actually are more man, and we're gonna prove that we're more man than you, because we're gonna make you prove that you aren't.
You're going against a gritty team in the Big 12 champions. Cam Scatterbull. Whoo.
Here's why I think I feel good about that. The W that they took in Kyle Field against A&M, because A&M is a gritty team. They believe that they're supposed to just run you out of the stadium. Texas hung with them. actually played Texas A&M's game in their building and did beat them. And then they decided to play gritty in the national championship and in the SEC championship game against Georgia. Could have won it, but they made too many mistakes to win it, and most of it on offense. And in those two games, I felt okay with that because I'm like, okay, so if they can limit the mistakes and they can be physical, I really believe that Texas can be a national champion. But they got to believe they could be physical on both sides of the ball, on both lines of scrimmages. And if they could do that, I believe they could take it to teams, especially to one that wants to be physical on offense, like Arizona State. But
Steve Sarkisian.
but I'm not going to say it's going to be a walk in the park. It's not. I don't think they're going to steamroll Arizona State. I don't think that I don't consider Arizona State to be a lightweight. Uh, Texas is going to have to bring the lunch pail. Arizona State is going to want to smack you up, down, and sideways. But I
Steve
want them to take
Sarkisian.
on I want them to take on the challenge and smack them back.
Don't you go for it on fourth down four damn times.
Oh, sorry. Say that again, sir.
Don't you go for it on fourth down four damn times.
One more time.
1 and 4 on fourth down when you was up. It make no sense. Steve
And you
Sarkis, don't you do that. Don't you
and
do that in Atlantic crap in this game.
and you don't even root for Texas.
No.
And it pissed you off. Now imagine the person who roots for Texas, you see it. That pissed me off royally. I'm like,
I
you want to
say
hand the
I
game,
say
bro?
you can take that 24 points was the most scored in the first round by a road team, by the way.
Right. It was.
You can take 9 points for them and add it to test. That should have been your final score.
I agree. I 100% agree. I was just saying that the Longhorns were on their way to a route. And it was like, so Keys was like, well, we can't have a route. We got to have a competitive game. Fool. No. No, send the Dabo Swinney's packing with a big time L. Come on, man.
1 p.m. New Year's Day. ESPN.
Bring the physicality,
The
Texas.
old Big 12 champion versus the new Big 12 champion.
Bring the physicality to them, Longhorns. How you played against Clemson. I want to see that again in Atlanta.